Hi. First, I would like to thank you, International Printmaking Center, New York, for inviting me, and to Alison Saar for choosing my work to be part of this great exhibition. I was born in Venezuela, and I moved here to the United States in 2000. And I've been living in Florida for a long time, until 2 years ago that I moved to Providence. I am married, I have two wonderful daughters, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the concept behind my work and also a little bit about the technique, because I think that I use technique in a different way. First, I will start working with the woman's body and trying to criticize the standardization of the woman's body, and that's how I get to the subject matter of the woman's body to start representing. And I realized that in my process to talking about woman's body, the idea was to 3D scan many different type of woman's body and try to get it into the computer and work with the computer, because I work with a lot with technology. And using the 3D scan was a very complicated technique and very expensive. That means that I found a 3D video game software that allowed me to create a different kind of bodies. That means that I had this software allow me to morpharize at least 400 parameters of the woman's body. And I was able to create the body that I want, short, less, with more hips, less waist, and to try to talk about the woman's body. When I was using the software, that is a 21st century software, I realized the software has poses for male and poses for female. And the female poses were crossed arms, crossed legs, tilted hips, the head a little bit tilted, and all the male poses were more empowering and more uplifting. And I say like, wow, this is not just about the body, it's about a cultural behavior that we still keep talking about, that we need to be more submissive, because it's not nice to have a strong woman with an aggressive attitude or stuff like that. And my subject matter was not just about the woman's body right now, it was about the pose and about the attitude that the woman had in the present. That means that I start creating, instead of just criticize about the sizes, about creating bodies that it will be empowering women to feel comfortable with their body. And I create this body of work that is called Maccabees, that are women warriors that are trying to fight for what we need to keep still fighting for: equal pay, the same rights, and so many other things, but in a way that is not just criticizing our society, is more empowering women to feel comfortable with their own body and with the attitude that we have confronting the world in relationship. And this is about the subject matter that I am working, and I also work with a lot of projects in which I create a kind of collaboration with different women, in which I create images and women intervene the images, and this is the body of work that I create. But now in relationship with the techniques, as I've been saying, I'm working a lot with technology. First, I use this software that is a video game software that is called Poser 10, in which I design my bodies, the height, the size, the way that I want to look, the pose that they need to have. After I design those images, I use Photoshop to kind of create the environment that I want. Like all these patterns that I use for this image are crochet patterns, because I always mix female, male concept. What about the knots? The Celtic knots is masculine, but the crochet is feminine. And that means that I always constantly, mix match, the concepts between what is masculine and what is feminine. After I work my image in Photoshop, I vectorize my image in Illustrator, and after that I translate it to a software that is, because I use a laser cutting machine. That laser cutting machines allow me to create a wooden plate. I engrave and cut the wooden plate, and to make a piece that is so big, because I have the limitation of my press that is 22 inches, I cannot create something that is like wider than that. That means that I create some plates in which I put in together sometimes when I want to work in a bigger scale. I use the laser cutting to create the wooden plates, cutting and make it as precise as need to be to put in some images together as a puzzle. And after that, I print it in a traditional printmaking woodcut. I ink it, and I use my press to print it. I usually print in a thicker plate, and I use etching ink instead of woodcut ink because that allows me to emboss a little bit more the paper and to create the richness that I want to create with the lace and the contrast with the rest of the color. That's a little bit more or less what I do in relationship with my technique and in relationship with my concept. And again, thank you very much for inviting me.